happen just being in Nigeria. There are stories we've heard from even close. Everybody can like have a story like what I want to share right now, because I think recently I had some foreigners come into the country, and they only traveled within Abuja from the airport to their destinations. And while they were moving, they said they noticed that half of the women in Nigeria wear wigs. More than half, like 80% of they were passing through a market, and everybody they saw was wearing wigs. And they were like, this is a potential market for supplying wigs. They just literally went from the airport to their destination, and they could already see that opportunity, and those were just foreigners. So I believe that if we can, we as citizens, as residents here, can even open our eyes to some of these things, I feel like there's so much more that we can do for ourselves in Nigeria. And it just opens our eyes to the fact that there's a lot of opportunities that if we are patient and we learn to like notice these things, we would actually see that there's so much more we can do within this territory.
Oh, that's interesting. So you describe the experience from an outside view that you had from an outside view, how outside has perceived Nigeria. So in your own world, in your own lived reality, how would you describe Nigeria, the Nigeria experience personally?
Oh, personally, I said Nigeria, like I said, drawing from whatever I said in the first take. I mean, Nigeria is like a space of many opportunities. There's a vibrant level of young people. We have like 60% of the population, and I believe that we have made the country whatever it is, particularly in the entertainment space and sports. And basically, I feel like the young people in Nigeria are the like strength of the country. And myself, we need to like be more involved beyond all the things that we do for ourselves, like jobs. We need to pay attention to like the government in power, the policies, and how they affect us. We need to know some of these things. And more importantly, I believe that Nigeria is, for me, I think that Nigeria is a space where anybody can thrive.
That's interesting. You sound very. How about you, Usman? How would you describe your own experience as a young Nigerian?
Okay. My experience as a young person, I mean, one thing that strikes out to me a lot is the diversity that we bear and like we have in the country. Like I schooled in University of Jos, and all my life I've always been here, like I've mostly been Abuja based. But schooling in University of Jos, it gave me a lot of nuance and a lot of perspective in how diverse the country is. There's this place I stayed initially when I got there, Angwan Rogo. I don't know if anybody's like very familiar who has traveled very. I stayed in Angwan Rogo, and the amount of kids per house is something else. Like there is a lot of young people in this country. Like you go deep into the belly of Nigeria, you go to a lot of remote places, and you see that if harnessed the right way, having that large amount of young population is more of a blessing than a cost. So just it's a very good thing that Nigeria has this diversity, and it's something that we can use to play to our strengths. Essentially. Thank you.
I think we all know that Nigeria is very diverse, languages and everything. But sometimes it creates problems. So, how, in your own words, Usman, would you say diversity? Tell us in more detail how we can harness it to our own benefits.
Okay. I'll give an example using the current the country that is considered like the world superpower today. Okay. Okay. I'll use the country that is considered the world superpower today. You look at the US, their system. One of their biggest strengths is this diversity that I'm talking about, but it's because of the way they harness it. They are the world leader in sports. You look at the Olympics, they always top the medal table. They are the world leader in sports. Innovation, okay, you can make an argument that China is catching up to them, but like America still stands out for a number of reasons. And this is because they know that they have a lot of different people, and different people are coming with different ideas, and potentially innovation is going to thrive. where different people with different ways of reasoning come to put their heads together. So, I mean, if we use that, I use the condition that if harnessed the right way, if we play to our strength, because there's so much untapped potential, if we play to our strengths and we harness this diversity that I'm talking about, both in reasoning, in culture, religion, in so many things. I know, yes, over time it has not played exactly how everyone may want, but I still believe that it's a big strength of ours. There's so much agitation going on. People are clamoring for division here, and there's so much problems. But I believe that it's still a strength, and we should look into this and like look at it as a positive. So, thank you.
Yeah, and just to add to what Usman said about utilizing our diversity, right? So, for instance, NYSC brings millions, thousands of young Nigerians together every day. But when they're doing the activities, is baking, bead making, things that have no value long term and no impact in on the country, right? So, if for instance, let's say someone people study computer science, people studied medicines, people study this and that, and they create groups that, okay, if you studied tech, build a project, batch B, stream A, whatever, build this type of project. If it's impactful, we take it to the government level. You do medicine, okay, how do you think we can go into our communities and heal people? Okay, for instance, too, there are people in diaspora that come back, people that are a lot older that did not do NYSC, but maybe they want to run for political position, so they even if they are not in camp, but they register. So that means we can use their resources, we can use their skills for free. So there's someone called Oswald Bobadia, right? He spoke about how when he came back to Nigeria and he was doing his NYSC, honestly, he was one of the people that they paid when when all these companies are putting in internet in their building, he's one of the leading people in that space. He was like he was willing to use that skill for free if Nigeria had asked him, but he was doing NYC and all they told him was, okay, you're old, so you can't really stay in camp, go home. No one really asked him, what do you do? Where are you coming from? What can you bring? Things that people would have paid millions for, he would have done it free. So I think that this diversity, we can utilize it using NYC, for instance, and also just asking people, what do you do? And making something, creating a sensible committee to put skills together to create something impactful for the country.
Interesting because I think that three of you are staying on the same theme. From Sheun saying that we have what outsiders are interested in, to Usman saying that we have the diversity, and you saying that we already have the programs on ground, even though you think that it can be better.
Yeah,
so we all have things that we can use. But then let's move on to our personal aspirations as young Nigerians. What do we actually aspire to do in the long run? You just criticized NYC's skill acquisition, saying that it's not useful in the long run.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear from everyone. What do we aspire to, like, in 10 years from now? Like, what do you see yourself doing?
Hello, everybody. When I'm speaking, I'm not speaking just for myself, but in 10 years from now, I really, really aspire that we have a society or a state that is functional for the average Nigerian and is not very dependent on survival, because that's the current situation we're living in. I mean, people like to invalidate or infantilize it and say things like, oh, we're not doing enough, or Nigerian youths are not making use of their diversity, or they're not owning up to the skills and they're not harnessing enough. But an average job in Nigeria would pay you 200,000 naira, and that job cannot keep you through the month. Let's be very realistic with ourselves. It can't keep you through the month. 300k cannot keep you through the month with the current economic situation. A bag of rice is 70,000 naira. So I really wish that in 10 years, a youth that just graduated university would be able to get a good job, at least 200k, 300k. It's not crazy, and you can live a comfortable life without thinking that, okay, I need a side hustle to be able to survive on my 300k job. So in 10 years, I wish we have a functional society.
It's also very interesting because many youth keep saying we need a good job. I mean, we all do. But then I think that it's really time for our institutions to go beyond graduating thousands or millions of graduates every year and then putting us in a job market that does not exist. And I think that's what NYC Skill Acquisition Program is trying to curb, for us to be more self-reliant.
But there's also an inflation problem. Like, you cannot take away the fact that 200k now was not 200k in 2013. There is also an inflation problem. A lot of young Nigerians, people are working hard.
Yeah.
That's why you see that there is so much progress with our generation becoming remote workers. Like, they had to look for something to do outside of, okay, there are no jobs. We can't, guys, I'm agitated, but there are no jobs. But then, okay, we've gotten the jobs. Can you survive in the Nigerian society?
How about you, Jed? Let's hear about your aspirations. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Okay, in 10 years, I think I want to see Nigeria, where every young person can thrive regardless of their background. Because we're just discussing earlier, we were discussing about some people having head starts or not. But I think in 10 years, I just want to see Nigeria where, regardless of where you are from, you can have a dream, pursue your dream, and actually achieve your dream. Because right now, just as Oyal said, Nigeria right now is not like creating that space for people to thrive easily. Because I was also having a discussion with a couple of friends recently. One of my friends just came back from Cyprus and he had to leave Lagos. Why? He said he couldn't stand the noise. First thing in the morning is a school that wakes him up in the morning. In the afternoon, the noise of the journey alone disrupts his system. So imagine for me now, I work on my system most times. I don't have lights. How do you expect me to survive? And that's the reality of most people right now in Nigeria, especially in the community, the rural area where I go to work. And that's come. So in 10 years, basically, I just want to see Nigeria where, regardless of your background, you thrive and get your dreams done, basically.
I don't know if I'm getting you wrong. Are you saying that? Are you insinuating that certain people from certain backgrounds are more likely to make it than others? So please explain that.
Yeah, so we're talking about head starts. There are some people that are actually privileged. They already have the head start to make it ahead of some people here in Nigeria. For instance, I go to the communities a lot. I see young boys and young girls that can't even write, can't even spell their names. And it's not like they don't want to go to school. They want to go to school, but they don't have the opportunity. So we're talking about free education. I know. Basically, the free education is not really free to an extent, because by the time you add all this cost, there are parents that can't even afford to pay the money to send their children to school. But these children want to go to the school. So the extra, there are parents that can actually afford these things to go to the school. So imagine the education is actually free. These kids will definitely go to the school and get their dreams on the path, basically.
Education, I think that quality education, because if they make public schools that have very bad or low quality free, I don't think they'll benefit much from it. Tolulope, can you tell us about your aspirations and where you see yourself in the near future as a young?
I want to be alive. Let's start with that.
That's a very
Very important.
Let me be alive. But I think that in the next 10 years, thinking about Nigeria, I think I want a Nigeria where we don't have to stay resilient because of the problems that we face. So having noticed that with every problem that we face, Nigerians stay resilient to overcome that, to adapt that. And I think that creates a survival mentality that affects young people, right, to think. And I'm hoping that in the next 10 years, I should have a kid by then. So I hope my child is in an environment that, you can actually thrive, not just thinking about surviving. So the survival syndrome is still why every young person wants to leave the country, which causes like the brain drain in the economy and also in the country, right? But I think for me, like I said, it's just a place where we don't have to stay resilient because the right systems are in place already. Do you understand? And I should also say that I'm not putting this all on the government, because I think I've had a lot of conversations. I also know that it's also on us, young people, to ensure that happens. But that's it.
Today I was thinking about the whole survival mindset and scarcity in Nigeria, and I was asking myself, like, does this has to do with our population? Like, does it have anything to do with our population? Because I think smaller African countries, my friend was saying, oh, he just got back from Rwanda. I remember doing my university dissertation in about the Rwandan genocide, and he was telling me how much better it is, how fast their internet is. And sometimes I think that some countries are doing better because their population is small, so they don't have to compete for so many resources. Maybe our population is the problem. Like, what do you think?
No, I mean, I disagree because I think it's about systems, right? So first off, there's this thought that people have about it's the colonial masters that because of what they've done in Nigeria and Africa, so we really can't get to the right places. But I think it's about the system, right? I think it's about the system. I think it's about the people in power, right? So if you take the people, if you have the right people in power, right, with the right systems, you'll get a good country. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think it's not really about the population. You have countries like Rwanda that I think that if the current Rwandan president would come to Nigeria and have the right system, I think it would work. Do you understand? And I would also say that genuinely, we should also have to be patient. So if we've gone, how many years in Nigeria? Over 50, right? To this spot, over 60, right? You wouldn't expect it to turn around in 4 years. Do you understand? You know that you have to be patient, but let's ensure that the systems are being built gradually. And in the next 10 years, 15 years, we have something really solid.
Personally, I'm a big believer that Nigerians are the problem of Nigeria. Yes, we can blame the
Structures are more policy. They've not yet translated to the
government who brings, like,
well-being of Nigerians. They are more structural policies and all of that stuff.
for certain people, and we are not as actively involved, in my opinion, as we should be. And then we keep waiting.
Everybody went out and was end police brutality. They killed people, but they reported that people did not die. And I think that we like to always shield ourselves and be like, Nigerians are to blame as much as the government. But you cannot take away the fact that the colonial masters created a dependent state. So I don't know. I think that there needs to be a revolution, and I think that we're still going to be like this even in 10 years because we'll still keep going back to them and selling our resources. So this is live, and if you're watching anywhere, please stop selling your resources. It is causing bloodshed, and you're calling it religious, you're calling it tribal fights, but it's not. You're killing people. Stop selling your resources to these people. There is nothing the colonial masters have done for you people. In fact, I feel like when they were here, there was a functional state because they were here, and when they left, they brought a form of indirect ruling, and that's why we're still here. As black people, we should not think that, the government, we can have a functional system. Not really, because we're still always going to be dependent on the West.
Maryam's aspirations. She hasn't spoken.
Hello, everyone. So, in 10 years from now, I want to see a Nigeria where youth, children can be able to, identify their own uniqueness and make use of that uniqueness. In the sense that if I am let's say, a 2-year-old and I have the skill of, I like to play football, why not identify that uniqueness and make use of it instead of saying, you have to do this, you have to do that. I think if we identify our uniqueness and time and make use of our uniqueness, because what you have, I don't have it. What I have, you don't have it. And what you have, you can use it to, create impact. In the little way, in the little form you can. So I think I want to see a Nigeria where we identify our uniqueness and also make use of that uniqueness, creating the necessary resources that we need. Yes, many people don't have the resources, but trust me, you can try, do something, create the resources that you need for yourself. The country will not work for some people so as much as the country will work for some people. So if you know that you have a skill in maybe sewing, you have this talent and you want to sew and all of that, and you don't have that money to provide a sewing machine, for example, why not go and volunteer in a sewing fashion school? Or why not go and say, okay, I really have this skill, I want to learn, I want to work for you, you pay me, and from there you have your own sewing machine to yourself.
How about your own personal? Tell us, we want to hear your personal skills and uniqueness. What is Maryam good at that Pamela cannot do? And how are you harnessing it? Make it more personal.
Okay, so I would give an example of when I was in SS2. So while I was in SS, I went to a boarding school. While I was in SS2, I was really, really quiet, going to a boarding school. My dad had said, I'm not sending you to this school to go and make friends and all of that. So I was so quiet that if you talk to me, I would, just keep quiet and just keep looking at you. And there was this moment that a woman came to our school and at the assembly ground, and she said, I dare you to dream because you're rich for the stars. Excellence is your only choice. You have to aspire for higher because more is who you are. And at that moment, I said to myself that there is something in me the world has to see. And I had noticed that I love to talk to people a lot. So what I did at that moment was I started bringing my juniors and my mates closer to me. So if they do not understand this particular subject, I tell them, come and meet me. I would help you with it. If they don't, know this particular thing, come and meet me. If you need advice, come and meet me. And that was how I started my journey. And coming back home, I noticed that, okay, this education has to be quality. What did I do? I went back to, gathering these children in my community, teaching them etiquette, teaching them how to talk, how to be confident, how to be respectful to their parents, and so on and so forth. So if I didn't identify that uniqueness, that I could do something, I think I would still be quiet.
And you wouldn't be able to share
Yes,
the gift with others.
and I wouldn't be able to, make the little impact I'm making today.
Exactly.
And again, I won't be able to, I will continue to complain that the government is not doing anything. No, I won't tell you, because she said, go back to your classroom, write down what you want to be and why you want to be what you want to be. I won't tell you that today. Maybe off camera I will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I want to be this and this. Coming back home, I said, I want to be this and this. And the next thing I heard was, have you ever seen anyone do that? So I think that if, as a person, you identify your uniqueness, and you as a guardian or parent also see that, yes, this child is unique in this aspect, they can be able to, train the child and help the child develop that skill more, to be more professional, so that that child or that person can be able to, create impact in the little way they can to their community, and it's going to affect the world positively, no matter how little it is. Thank you.
I agree. Speaking about parents, honestly, the people who have raised young Nigerians, I'm very sure it's not just me, my own parents that say, oh, during our time, Nigeria was like this, like this, like this. They experienced ease. My dad would say, oh, when he was in boarding school, he would have provisions free, soap was free. I don't know at what point it got bad, but our parents experienced a better Nigeria than we did.
Yeah, my dad went to a free school,
So most people's dads that went to school, my dad would say, oh, immediately after secondary school, companies came to his secondary school and they were scouting for people to employ. They were literally looking for them to employ them. Like, it wasn't like that. I don't know at what point it changed, but I think that the older generation, they don't understand. They're not moving according to time. So when speaking about helping people identify their gifts, your parents want what works for them. So we're going to talk about the misconceptions that the older generation have when it comes to us. So for example, during their time, there were jobs waiting for people. You just needed to go to school. And then now they did the same thing for everybody. They know that you have a talent. Your talent is football. They know you're skilled at it, but maybe out of fear of injury, or they think that that's not a secure career, they will tell you, oh, go and study law. Go and do that. So I want us to share our experiences of how the older generation misunderstand us as young Nigerians.
So I think the older generation truly, they do misunderstood us. Well, we as a person, we should also be able to educate them with respect and with patience. Me, for example, after my secondary school, I told my dad that I want to go to the military school. I want to go to NDA. And my dad is very, very supportive. He supports everything I say because he knows that he knows that I have something in me, right? So I told my dad that I wanted to go to NDA, and he said, okay, no problem. Go back and write down the reason why you want to go to this NDA and all. And the reason why I wanted to go to NDA will I say childishness, or will I say my experience from the boarding school I had gone to and the kind of bully, and because I was bullied even by my mate and I couldn't do anything because I was warned that don't fight, do not do anything. If not, I'll come to your school and disgrace you in front of the assembly ground, and I don't want that for myself. So I'd gone back and I said, okay, the reason I want to go to NDA is because I want to be able to deal with everybody that comes my way.
God.
You understand that kind of a thing? So, and the reason, I also had a personal reason for my friend, the person I took like a sister in school. So I think we as younger ones, we need to, come down to our parents' level. If you're telling your dad or your mom or your guardian, oh, I want to become a doctor, and they say, oh no, you cannot become a doctor. Have you seen anyone become a doctor this year? Tell them, if you cannot talk to them physically, send a mail. Yes, if you cannot talk to them physically, send a mail or write a letter. Or even do something that will make them happy, that will want to make them listen to your thoughts. And trust me, they would listen to you.
So when you're looking like your own parents or guardians don't misunderstand you.
He doesn't have to write letters.
I don't have to write letters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But tell us the ways that you feel misunderstood by the older generation.
So, I'll focus on appearance.
That's true. That is something I think we can all relate to.
I'll focus on appearance. More recently, I have an afro. For one reason or the other, I have to be in the political space. And I have political ambitions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And some people will look at me with this your afro. Older people, obviously.
But we have politicians with afro, like Senator Shehu Sani's hair is like that.
I don't think his afro is like mine. So they will tell me that when you have problems, you will cut your hair. Like you don't have problems. That you have not seen life. That you want to become a politician. You are keeping hair. Who is your mentor? Who is your role model? As random as those things are, those are the little things that can like throw people off. It can damage your esteem.
Yeah. And I believe that mindset is responsible for profiling.
Exactly.
Yes.
If random people, like maybe even our parents, can just say this your hair is too full, if you do like this now, they will think you are a cult boy. You are enabling them. If you wear black, they already think you are a cult boy. So these are some of the things that I think they need to cut us some slack. Allow us. There's one song that YC sang, Awalagbe dada sorry, Awala tunshe dada. It means that we are the ones that have dreads on our head, but we are still the ones doing good. So you can have dreads, you can have locks. I think there's a mandate secretary in Abuja. He has long locks like this, like
Beatrice.
Oh, yeah, exactly, Beatrice, and he's doing very well. You don't have to. I want them to know that, as much as
What's his full name?
Beatrice Lawrence,
exactly. So you don't have to go by the routes they went through. They went through colonial masters. Some of them, they even had to shave their heads.
Yeah, I think it's a colonial mindset too.
Times have passed. Things are changing. I understand that the system or the community does not exactly allow for some of these things to be, because if we do not actually, I won't say rebel or go against some of these things will become, will I say, norms, traditions, and stereotypes that should not continue. Because why would you write me off because I have an afro?
Or colored hair.
Or I have an extra piercing.
Or even a piercing at all.
Or even
So I want to ask. So what do you think we can do to change that perspective?
So one thing I support that you said do something they like and actually approach them.
You can't please old people.
Well, fair enough, but I feel like you can come to a compromise.
Yeah.
You can. But however, there's something you said, right? So there was a time that my dad and I were going for dinner, just us two. We were going to a fine dining restaurant, and he wore a jersey and jeans. I said, okay. I went to I put on a top and jeans, and he said, go and change. I was like, but Daddy, you're wearing that. He said, I've proved myself. I can wear anything on earth that I've proved myself.
Okay.
I can wear anything I want to wear. And initially I was like, God, this man. But then I came to understand that there are two things involved. Firstly, you must prove your value. And then secondly, the truth is that time tells. You can't go to certain spaces dressed certain ways. I don't agree with the stereotyping, but the fact of the matter remains that the quote, dress how you want to be addressed, has stood the test of time for a reason, because it is factual. So I'm not saying that you should dress in a certain way, but I'm saying that before you get to express yourself through fashion, you must prove that you are valuable enough that even if you look mad, they still want you.
I
That's just my take
if I'll
on
just
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Okay, I think if I'll just add to what she said. So look at it from this way: a young person grows up seeing, say, Kanye, Jay-Z, with this. Do you understand? This is their norm. But there is someone else whose father grew up seeing that the people that had braided hair was Shango people, right? And so there's a point where it's a generational gap thingy, because what they are seeing is different from what we are seeing. Do you understand? And I think that what we need to do is then have like the balance. Do you understand? So there's a point where your parents shouldn't be able to impose their own decisions on you because you're an adult. So they should just be able to guide you. Do you understand? But you should also understand that this is where they are coming from. Do you get? If my own father sees me with an afro, he's not seeing me as a son with an afro. He's seeing a Shango guy because his father was a Shango worshiper and all of that. Do you get the context? And I think that as I grow, I see some sense in what they've been saying also. So, for example, you say, don't come back late at night. I'm sure that as we grow now, you're staying alone. You know not to go back home late at night and all of that. But I think that the point is still that we always still have to find that balance, right? For me, I know that one of the issues I think I've had with like the older generation is this phrase of experiences. Is experience is key? Is the best teacher, I think, which is that this is how they've seen life, and so their way is superior. Do you understand? And it's the same reason why they will tell you, oh, study law, or become a doctor, or do you get?
But are they always right? Like if we look at the young Nigerians
they are
that
not.
are very successful right now, people that have made millions or multi-millions in their 20s and 30s right now, like are they people that actually followed what their parents said?
I think that it's because we see more than they see, but they don't want to agree. Do you understand? So for many parents, what they look at is not just about the millions you make in the long term, just right that moment, rather. They're looking at long term. So my own father still fights me. You're watching this, I won't agree. My father still fights me to say, you need to get your master's and your PhD. And I'm like, because he's a professor. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Do you get that? That's you. I want to pursue something else. And so my father still thinks, oh, this whole NGO thing I'm doing, when you are ready, you would follow the right track. Do you get the gist? But I also have to ensure that I stay true to my vision and I don't fail. Because if I fail,
Yeah.
Proving them right.
Exactly. That's the part where I was saying that you have to make them happy. Give them reasons to trust you.
Yes.
But then what's your definition of failure?
that's an amazing question. So what I mean by failure, I think that the failure in that perspective will actually be me not pursuing because I didn't get what I wanted at first. So failure for me in that regard is if I now concede to say, oh, because it's maybe really hard at the moment, as an example, I then say, you know what, I'm just going to leave all of this. Do you get? Not really in the metric of, oh, if I didn't meet my old goals. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's more about conceding to say, oh, I'm just going to do my master's. I'm going to settle. I think that's what failure is for me. Do you get? Yeah, settle. Yeah, exactly.
So you can actually make your parents happy by pursuing the path they want you to pursue, but if it's not what you want, if it's not true to your own aspirations, to you, that's failure. Is that what you're saying? Am I getting you wrong?
No, I think you're getting
No,
me
because
wrong.
you said the masters and pursuing more academic exploits, like that's what your dad wants you to do. So if you do that, what is failure to you? Did I get you wrong?
Okay, so right now I'm a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not practicing, but I'm not litigating. I don't go to court, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm working in the NGO space. I've been at this for about 5 years. The goal at some point is maybe work with an international NGO and all of that. But if tomorrow I say that isn't working, and I say, you know what, I'm just going to settle. I'm just going to do like the master's, PhD, become a lecturer, and settle for like a low life. I think that's failure for me. That's what I was referring to. Not really about, oh, if I don't become like the best working with the INGO. No, that's not what failure is for me. I think it's about settling. Do you get? And I hope
Settling for
all
what
young
you don't
people-
want.
Exactly.
Okay, I get you now. So after sharing all our aspirations, I think that we want so many things. But if we could sum it up in one word, everybody should think just one word. What's one thing you want in your future, like non-negotiable? What's one thing you want in your future? Anybody can start.
Structure.
Okay, great.
Oh, I was about to say impact.
Okay, Maryam agrees with impact.
Impact.
Yeah.
Actually, sustainable impact.
Great.
Balance.
How about you, Usman?
Okay. Optionability.
Oh, great. For me too, like I'm all about leaving legacy behind, being remembered beyond how long you stayed. So I'll agree with you guys that said impact. Like that's one non-negotiable for me. So let's talk about education, skills, and the future of work. Are Nigeria's young people prepared for the economy of tomorrow?
No,
Tell us why you say no.
because the educational sector in Nigeria has depreciated, like, same shit. But then, like, we're not prepared because there's really nothing to leave for them in the grand scheme of things. So if you look at it from a point of, for example, JAM, they reduced their cutoff mark to 150. Well, we're doing 300. But then, like, we're not prepared. There is no, a lot of people do not want to go to schools because they think that, oh, why would I go to school if I'll come out of school and then there are no
School na
jobs?
scam.
School na scam. Thank you very much. But we're not prepared. A lot of people are not interested. And I understand why. I see the reasons why. The people that are interested, they are Nepo babies. Their parents are already there.
So you think that only people that maybe, for example, studied abroad are prepared for the economy of tomorrow? Have we seen people that study abroad that actually still not prepared for the economy?
Not necessarily study abroad, but then, like, you cannot take away the fact that the educational sector in Nigeria has gone to shit. Can I say shit here?
Yeah.
Can I say shit? Can I say fuck?
No.
Oh,
You cannot cause. No cause.
fact that the educational system in Nigeria has crumbled. Like, there are no comfortable learning environments for students. You go to university. I saw a video of a woman in one unit and she was slapping and punching the girl. And I'm just like, thank God it's not me because I'll punch you back. But yeah, a lot of people don't want to go to school because we do not have a learning environment. Our professors are angry because they are not being paid. So they come and they pour all that anger on young people. And the young people are just like, oh my God, school is uncomfortable and not very good for me. I do not want to be here. But as much I was listening to people talk about, oh, we have to please the older people. I think that if you're an older person watching this, it needs to get to a point where you let your children be their own people. You cannot have kids and be projecting, I want them to be a doctor, I want them to be a lawyer, I don't want you to be on grades. Let people be their way to, let's start from there first.
Okay.
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 So I think beyond education, like because we're talking about the future of work, like what skills do we think will take over the economy, like in the near future or tomorrow?
Okay.
Are people ready for that? Even if you're not educated, like is it possible to have a skill that can help you survive in the near future?
So speaking about skills, sorry.
Okay.
Speaking about skills, right? It still boils down to the question. Are young people prepared for the future of the economy? I don't think so because those skills require they exist people that have them. There are educational systems that are actually prepared for them. However, majority of the young people in Nigeria
Can you turn on your mic?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So majority of the young people don't have access to such education. So are we prepared for the economy? No, I would say because of the numbers. So if, let's say, 10% of people can go to schools that are quality, the 90% that don't, then you cannot say young Nigerians as a whole are prepared. Because the skills required to meet up with the world demand, we don't have access to that. And we might have access to that, but not timely access to it. So for instance, AI is the new buzz now, and there are a lot of NGOs, there are lots of people doing all these things, but it does not get to the majority of Nigerians. Like she said, sometimes it's because we don't have the information on time, and also sometimes the resources are just not enough to get to the number of people to make a statement as bold as young Nigerians. When you say that, then at least the majority, at worst, half percent, but I think we're more on a 10 to 20% basis for young Nigerians, and that's not good enough. So no, we don't have the skills. As she said, the educational system is not good enough. Before, back in the day, it was a thing of pride to go to a public school.
Yes.
Now, if you're in a public school, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. You don't have.
They'll
You know,
punch you.
you're in a lot of trouble. So now, how many people can afford private education? And you might be thinking that schools of 90 people, some people still can't afford that as private education.
I even think it's ridiculous that public schools are paying above 100,000 naira right now. Like,
You think it's not worth
Why
it?
do you think so?
I think it's too expensive. I think it's
100,000?
yes. I think it's too expensive because a civil servant in Nigeria that is a level 13 or 14 officer is probably not earning up to 500k, and if they have 4 kids, that means they have to pay school fees for all of these children. So what about their feeding? How are they going to survive? How are they going to sustain the family itself? So like it's a bigger question. Like people still say don't blame the government, but me, I'm blaming the government.
No, I agree with her because then I think that currently we're in a state where income cannot sustain living.
Mhm.
Not even like a high standard of living, but just basic amenities. Going to the hospital. Recently I went to a public hospital and I was moved with so much sympathy. What
Mhm.
you get to see. So the income cannot sustain standard living, and I think that's where the main problem is currently. That everyone is just, most people are really just trying to survive.
So maybe, yeah.
It's such an economy.
Yeah, maybe just a different perspective is that I personally don't think that the price should go lower as it is that people should earn more. So back was the days of Obafemi where education was free. Education is expensive, generally. The whole subsidization of education is not long lasting. But I think from what you're saying, I think what makes sense is that people should actually be able to earn more. Recently, I was doing a research, and you guys know that the minimum wage is 70,000, right? And I think that when I calculated what I can't remember the name of this international organization now puts for, like everybody should at least be able to spend. I realized that we are systematically set up for poverty in Nigeria. Do you understand? So I think the problem really isn't about the amount we pay in schools, as it is that the amount these people actually earn. Do you get it?
Okay. I'm going to build on what she said and on the education and the curriculum, how like education has regressed noticeably. Just like she said earlier, like you look at the cutoff mark for JAM, as someone who read education, the cutoff mark for JAM has gone down. A lot of things are going down. You have to be at a certain wage bracket before you can put your kids in schools that may offer them the kind of education that will make it impactful for them in the future. Because now I like to reference this. I like to use the template of this South Asian countries, because you look at where they were, say 40, 50 years ago, and where they are now, and this is a template that is what's emulating. Countries like China, they invest a lot, even though this is states we don't practice similar type of government as they do, but you look at how their states invest in their education sector, invest in innovation and things like this, and you see why they have a clear goal of where they want to be tomorrow, and they're working towards it. Now in the future, she said it, AI is the buzz now. eventually a lot of jobs are going to be automated. And when these jobs become automated, you have to adapt to the times or you perish, because that's just the way of putting it. So how do you adapt to the times when you do not have the knowledge of the times in this context? So the educational sector, there is need for a reform of the curriculum. We need to catch up fast. We can't be doing bead making and basket making and things like this, and we expect that in the future, you said something about how the system is set up for what's it called, for poverty, because these are skills that you acquire when you want to let me just get something to eat today. Survivability skills. We're not thinking of impact. We're just thinking of, let me get to tomorrow. So we're thinking of things that should aid our country get somewhere tomorrow. When this automation eventually comes and the world is evolving, because the world is not constant, the world is evolving, where will Nigeria, or especially the youth, where do we think our country will be when automation eventually, I don't want to say it will take over completely, but it is getting to a stage where you cannot ignore it. AI is the future. I mean, it's very obvious, it's very clear to see. There are a lot of tasks now. Before there were people that used to collect money to write CV for people. Now to write money for write CV for people, that one is out the window now. You just need to put your details on the chat and everything will meet for you. You need to write an application for something, it does it. So this is still basic to, it's not even intermediary level. This is basic level usage of AI. But you go to you see what some of the where some of these countries are today. The things that some of the kids are doing, they automate, they build systems from scratch. There's robotics competitions worldwide. You see what some children create. They create robots that solve world problems. How do we, from where we are now, get to that stage where we would say, yes, we have people like that, but I mean, the numbers is very minute. We can't say that, we can't boast that a significant amount of Nigerians are privy to such level of skills, or institutions where they can acquire such skills. She said it now. It's education. Good education now is for only Nepo babies, because you go to you see all the big institutions and the big private schools where at least those ones are trying to keep up to this curriculum or keep up with this stuff. The fees are outrageous. A wealthy Nigerian can barely keep up. I believe not even a wealthy Nigerian can barely keep up. So then what happens to, you now talk of the mid or the average Nigerians? Where does that leave a lot of people? So the education system, there is need for a lot of policy, there's a need for a lot of policy reforms when it comes to the education system, because from the looks of things, from an outsider looking in, and also from an insider as well, you see that there's a lot of regression going on. So that's just my own view.
Sorry, just to add to what Usman said, I was discussing with Tolu recently. I was in Ghana recently, and I was opportune to meet one of our partners, Achievers Ghana. What they do is they empower girls through STEM. I was shocked to see, just here in Ghana, I was shocked to see between 3 to 5 years old girls building robots at the age of 5 already, and they actually did everything from the start, which shows that our education system, I don't want to use it, but is backwards. A lived experience. Right now, I just completed another degree in digital marketing, even after spending close to more than 4 years in school. Just why? Because I couldn't get a school in Nigeria to actually pursue what I really want to do. Right now, my younger brother just finished from a private school he studied computer science. Right now, he's spending 1 year in another school just to catch up with AI and robotics. And the amount we are paying, trust me, is not an amount that just anybody can actually afford. But like we all said, the education system is backward, and we actually need to do a lot. We can't just leave it for the government. That's just the truth. We also
then there are no educational reforms, but there are almajiri reforms. There are mass weddings being sponsored. I think so we like to think that the government.
Please, I need to mention this, that please, there is NEL Fund. there is now fund which assists students who cannot afford tuition fee.
Exactly.
And they also give them allowances. And also what I want to say is that we need to remove this mentality of school na scam, school na scam.
I agree.
Because whether you like it or not, you need school. And most of us youths actually go to school because, oh, I want to go to school. When I finish going to school, I have my certificate. In case anything comes up, I will be able to say, okay, I have my certificate.
And sorry, are you?
So another thing I also want to say is our curriculum needs to be updated.
Speaking about educational reform, I think I'll share a personal experience. So I'm a journalist. I remember working in a newsroom and having interns under me, and I was very shocked. I had like graduates, both NYC interns and undergraduate interns, and I remember when they came working on a story, and I say just use Google Docs, because if you use Google Docs, I can see what you're typing, like when both of us are on a document. And they don't know how to use Google Docs. Like, first of all, they even have to start downloading Google Docs. They don't even know what Google Docs is. So
and we also have to be prepared. We also have to be prepared for the future. That's another thing.
So we're not even prepared for jobs
we also
of
have
today,
to
not even
prepared.
talk of jobs of tomorrow. I'm talking about jobs of today, currently.
Maryam,
A mass communication graduate doesn't know what Google Docs is or how to
Some
work on
don't
it.
even
So
know how to operate the
it's
computer.
so much theoretical things
How can
that go
one
on in
access
school.
the nail phone? So for someone that is watching and they're like, oh my god, I can't go to school, how can someone access
Okay, for
nail
someone that wants to access Nelfund, just go to www.nelfund.com. What you need is you need your SSC results, and you need to also like have your cutoff mark for JAMB, and then you apply.
My problem with that is people who don't have access to the internet like are automatically cut off from such opportunities.
I even heard that some communities do not have even access, like they don't have any access to internet. So what you can do is, as a person that that is in a community that doesn't have access to internet, is finding a way. You are in the community, find a way you can be able to get access to internet. Because most of these things that we're saying is we want the government we even want the government to bring food on
No,
our
nobody
bed.
wants the government to bring food to their
I'm
table.
just, you know what? I'm saying this based on my own perspective. All right. So I'm not going to say you're wrong or anything.
But just on the Nail Fund P, right? Do you know anybody that Nail Fund has paid their full tuition?
yes, I do.
You do know.
Yes.
And the tuition was how
Yes.
much?
Yes.
And the tuition was how much?
Tuition throughout uni. They even give them a time frame for you to pay back allowance after uni.
Also, it's a loan.
Because education is expensive.
Okay.
Also, it's a loan.
So the loan, when you're paying back, this is how you pay back. You have to get a job, a paying job. Then from that, your salary, maybe they will remove 20% from
Yeah, I think
that.
it's a brilliant
And
one.
if you do not get a job, they won't.
Do you want it to be
They
totally
won't-
free?
Yeah, because even outside the
Nail
country, so I think in
fund.
America they do students loan.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yes.
think it's,
Exactly.
yeah.
I don't think it's a
So I don't
problem.
think it's a
So-
problem.
Also, this is a
But most
student
importantly,
loan.
I think all of us, like especially Jed, who said he went to Ghana and saw robotics for kids. I think that many of us that are traveled or tech savvy, we can also, in our little ways, impact our communities
Yeah,
and
that was
That's
what-
exactly
contribute
what
to
I'm
solving
saying,
the
yes.
problem.
So what I'm saying is, you know, if you're in a community that you notice, that's why this SDG is there, Sustainable Development Goals, and it is connected. So if you're in a community and you notice that, oh, my community doesn't
There are
have water,
gaps.
and you have this education, you are confident enough, find a way out. It makes you a change maker. It makes you somebody that brings impact into your community, that solves the problem. So you're bringing in that solution to help your community, to help other people around you. So I think that is actually a plus. Thank you.
And I think,
Just
no, please.
Tolulope, go.
No, I was just going to say, I think that's also like a big kudos to NGOs that also step in these gaps, right? NGOs that provide remedial education for children in underserved communities, but also just cut the lapses that actually like the government also has. Just wanted to put that in, yeah.
So I was also going to talk about. I said the power of the collective earlier. So like I'll just share most of my experiences that I've connected with few of my friends. So I know with some countries outside Nigeria, there's what they call the community management committee, and I've been opportunity to work with young people outside the country. I think in Liberia and Sierra Leone to be precise. So what the community management committee does is, whenever they go to the community rather, they build their capacity in the community, and they help the community develop a vision board for themselves. So whenever anybody is going to that community, if you go there and tell them you want to build a ball, trust me, they will tell you you don't want a ball. Our school is not in a good shape. You should help us fix our school. We have children that are going, that are trekking about 6 kilometers just to access education, while we have the building here. So like I said, the government can't be the road.
Yeah.
The power of the collective.
Yeah.
Needs to always also, as individuals, as groups, as a collective, find a way to help out.
Yes.
Just as Maryam said, once you do something in your community, you become a community champion. And whenever things are coming to the community, trust me, you'll be like the first or the second person you tell. Whenever somebody's coming to the community to do something. So the power of the collective is actually a big deal.
So let me add to this. So my organization, Massly Africa, we noticed that we've done a whole lot of outreaches in government schools and so on. So we've noticed that plastic bottles are just, everywhere around the school. So what we're able to do is we created a club called Migis Club, where we have ambassadors that helps us pick bottles, and when it gets to like a particular quantity, we sell it out in the school. We bring out the buyers. We partner with people that do recycling. They come to the school, they sell it out, and we use that funds to help students that cannot afford to pay school fees, students that do not have good uniforms, students that do not have maybe they don't have books or pen or basic materials that make them feel included. And another thing is, we don't make the students know that we are the one we are paying. They just get to know that, oh, your school fees is paid, fine. Because we don't want the case where, oh, because we are selling bottles, oh, you know how peer group works now, where they say, oh, you are the one that is sponsored. No, we don't want people to know that we are the ones sponsoring you. We just do it, and you may not even be in the club. We just do it because we want to make sure that everyone has access to education, and also everyone also have access to basic things that they need as students, as individuals. And for our ambassadors, what do? When we sell, we tip them, we give them stipends. Thank you for being an ambassador with us. So I think as an individual, when you notice something that is that needs a solution, or that needs your attention, just go for it. Do it. Find a way out. Look for peer groups, like minds that has the same ambition, and do something and create a solution for it. It's not going to take you anything. It might be hard, but trust me, when you do it, you impact lives. Imagine the woman that said, I dare you to dream. If she hadn't come to our school, if she hadn't said that, where would I have been today? Okay, maybe I would have been somewhere. Maybe I would have been in the military, yes. But I would not be here.
So, Maryam, what actually stopped you from being in the military? You didn't share that part with us.
Okay, so I went to NDA, and of course I fell ill and came back.
Oh, wow. So you'd have been an officer now.
Yeah, with 2 stars.
Okay, so besides our interesting panelists, we have guests in the studio who are following up on this conversation, and I'm sure they would like to contribute. We're still talking about jobs, skills, education skills, and work, the future of work. So I'd love to hear from any of our guests. Like, does anybody want to tell us how they feel? Do you guys personally feel prepared for today's economy? Not even talking about tomorrow's own. Are you adequately prepared for today's economy? So introduce yourself. You can raise your hand. We'll pass the mic to you. Introduce yourself, and then tell us how you like to contribute to this conversation. Anyone? Should I pick a random person?
I think we have someone.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abdulaziz Dola. So I'm a laboratory scientist, and I'm also a public health officer. So Nigeria, I would say the youth now, I would say we are not ready for the future. Because I would say our educational system is not contributing. We actually need a curriculum reform. Mostly, like now, we can see how AI is taking over most of most of what is happening currently. And I don't think even a young graduate now, someone that graduated from school today, let me just, I would say like 60%, people don't know how to utilize AI. And people, like you say, some people don't even know how to make use of a Google Doc, which is a very simple thing. That is, Google Doc is actually where you can have a team and then you collaborate and work together. But imagine someone that has gone to school for 4 to 5 years cannot even utilize that aspect. So you see that we are much more far behind. So educational system, I think we need a curriculum reform that will match the current, how the world is evolving. Thank you.
But I have a question for you. So yes, I agree. I personally agree that our educational system needs some kind of reform based on my own experience with people that I've worked with. But then I want to say personally, how was I even able to know how to use Google Docs? I remember, and I'm suggesting this to everyone, especially students. I remember being an undergrad, I did a lot of volunteering. I honestly encourage that. That's a very good way to build some experience before you even graduate, so you don't find yourself in that situation. I volunteered for international organizations. I think that's what actually prepared me. So I was volunteering remotely for an international organization that was not in the country, and I would have to write for them. And of course, I started knowing how to use Google Docs before I even found myself. So that's what helped me. But then also, I want to say we have the internet at our disposal. So now we have so many undergrad students in schools that have smartphones. Almost everybody's on TikTok, is on social media, but we are blaming our educational system, which I think needs to be fixed. But I feel like personally, we can utilize the internet. Go on YouTube. There's so many things that we can learn to keep up the pace. Don't you think so?
All right. I think I'll borrow the word of our late president, Muhammadu Buhari, that he said most of our Nigerian youth are lazy.
So now we've gone from blaming the government or the educational system to our personal efforts.
It's not like you said, like most of you can't be in school and you say you don't have a smartphone. Exactly. You understand? You can.
You can. Yes.
But in percentage,
I think it's just basically talking about access.
Access.
And another thing we must consider is that you can only do as much as you know. So, for instance, you're talking about volunteering. This is not something people know. It sounds so common. Yeah.
I feel like you're making excuses for young people. Most of what we have done today
I think
make
many
excuses
young
for young people.
No, we're not making excuses for young people. I think you are making excuses for the government.
But what's stopping a young person? It's since we can't sit down, waste our lives waiting for the government. What's stopping a young person from actually going to volunteer? You said they don't know.
But a lot of people do not have access to these.
So
like they don't know.
It cannot be comprehended.
Let's hear from Persis.
Knowing. People actually don't know that you can volunteer. It sounds so simple, but it is a fact.
So we have to actually, maybe we as panelists, maybe we should work on a project where we have to actually raise awareness.
I personally feel like there's no common answer to this dilemma. Because I feel everybody's right if you look at it from one angle. Yes, there are people that do have you have smartphones. Obviously, you can make use of your smartphone to access things that will be beneficial to you in the long run. And do they choose to do so? No, they don't.
Why?
And they are.
Why?
Because they are lazy.
It's your own personal conviction.
Or they don't know.
I think it's your personal conviction. It's your own personal decision. Maybe some people just decide, like he said, you are lazy, you don't want to, or you are comfortable, you all have other means that you think, this is more beneficial to me in the long run. I personally think it's misplaced priority, but everybody have their own.
I think I want to say something. Sorry.
Okay.
No, finish up.
Okay, but then again, there are some people that they would love to be able to access these skills. They would love to be able to learn things like this, but there's a lot of constraints on them. It could either be financial, it could be accessibility, it could be the lack of know-how. So there's so many things. So I just feel there's not a single answer. I don't think
Honestly,
there's a common
I disagree
answer.
Because on TikTok, I see young Nigerians using AI. Donald Trump, they are in an airplane. I don't even know how they did it.
So let me say something. I think we have already established the fact enough that the government is bad with the reforms. Put that aside. What are we doing?
Young Nigerians are hardworking.
I'm not disregarding the fact that young Nigerians.
He's asking that what are we doing
So she mentioned
to make the government actually take a reform on the
So
education
she
sector?
mentioned.
Did we do
AI.
anything
Hold
for
on.
them to have an Almajiri reform?
Okay, so what I'm saying is that
Probably
what-
some Almajiri advocates advocated for it, and that's why there are reforms.
Almajiri
So
advocates.
what
Okay.
are we doing for the things
So-
that? are
No,
interested-
the government,
that
they're
we're
hearing
interested?
us. They're hearing us. They know that they need to be in your classrooms. They're not teaching you with slides. They are teaching you with boards in 2026. In my sister's school, they are teaching her with board in 2026. Please, like there have to be a reform. We cannot say, oh, Almajiri advocates. Can they not see? Are you not saying that, oh, a young graduate cannot use Google Docs? That's because their lecturer is not telling them that, oh, I sent this to everybody's email. Can we?
That's true.
who
Because
told
this
them to
thing-
create
this- no,
Donald
no,
Trump
no.
with AI?
This
I think
thing
there are some
about-
things we need
Because
to
there's a low barrier to the internet.
My
People
point-
have access to social media. That's
the
a different
advantage. Do you know that's the
conversation.
advantage?
That's a different
that's an
conversation.
advantage?
When I say social media is like a double-edged sword,
Exactly,
it's the
that's
same
an advantage.
sword that you use to as an advantage. It's the same.
No,
People
but
have
do you
graduated
understand
school on
that
social media.
that
They've
is-
gone to
yeah.
Udemy. They've gone
Know-how.
to Coursera.
That
They've
is-
volunteered on
People are
social
making
media.
money off
You did
social
not read
media.
what I'm
It is
saying.
knowledge, and secondly, it is self-will.
My point is that
That's why I
You
say
are-
personal
and
conviction.
again,
I
willingness,
say personal
willingness.
conviction.
I
work
also
towards
think
it.
that some of the things that we are looking for online, some people are literally just now the system has become so good that just have to be an entertainer. You want to be a streamer, one thing or the other before you can make it. But people do not know that people are actually making it out with books. Inyabo literally, this Money Point guy came that day and said that Nigerians are not qualified for some of the jobs that he wants to give.
But he's schooled in
Even on
Nigeria.
transport computing,
I'm saying that
this
you
woman
can
said-
get these courses, these qualifications, Google qualifications. You can get them on Coursera. It's as easy as that.
I
We
think
finished school. I'm sorry. The same
did
things
you
we are
say?
complaining about NYSC. People have made money out of baking cake that they learn in NYSC.
Yeah, I mean, I just
So
want
I'm
to,
telling you that you can't totally depend on the
that's not
government.
an
Sorry, please.
impactful
I'm saying
life.
you cannot totally depend on the government. Now let's agree that the government has failed. Let's agree the government has failed. What are you doing?
No, we cannot
by-
agree on
I
that.
No,
think
I
we are
mean
being
everybody has
bureaucratic.
been we have granted this for going. Everybody has said something about reforms, government. Okay, now the government has failed in that part. Now, what do we now? How do we
Okay,
take up
what
this
next?
responsibility?
See,
What
there are
next?
two
As individuals.
perspectives. There are two perspectives. If you agree that the government has failed, you can't move on from it first off.
Exactly.
And what I
So
mean
we
by
cannot
that is-
agree.
Where do you
That's
school,
what I'm
Sheo?
saying.
Where do you school?
I schooled in Osun State.
So you're privileged to a large extent. Now there's this thing of if you schooled in maybe Bays now, then I schooled in UI also, so I know what it feels like to school in a federal university with strikes. But there's some people that actually have it worse. Do you understand? That's why I disagree with him when he said, no, everybody has access to phones. No. But I totally agree with you also when I don't use TikTok. I think it's for
Me
young
too, I
people.
don't.
Because I understand when you say that you see young people that can actually do a lot on YouTube, not utilizing like the skills and the time. They rather do stuff. But I also think it's actually reflect a lot on our norms. Do you understand? An average professor in Nigeria earns less than Pela.
By
Do you understand what I'm saying?
By far.
So you guys are saying that Nigerians are poor. Do you want to push those Nigerians to go become professors, or do you want them to push them to become Pela?
I think we
That's
just
why
said
it
Chill,
all
chill,
boils
chill,
down.
chill,
It all
one second.
boils down to your
Enable the wrong-
personal
one second,
Please
one
let's
second.
interrupt
One
each
second,
other. I
one
think we should
second.
just
Okay, I want to make a
indicate by
point.
raising our
Wait.
hands.
I want to. Okay.
Yeah, so the point is that the point I was trying to make was I get where you're coming from. I think you're totally correct to say people that have access to smartphones, people that have access to data, they misuse it.
Yes.
Do you understand? But I also think that we must not neglect the people that don't have this access. I also I started working with like the NGO where I am at. I realized that some people don't have phones
Yeah.
at all.
There are
Look,
millions
you
of
buy phones
people.
for some people, they don't have internet. Do you get? Worse, they don't have network. Do you understand? So it's easy for me. I took courses on Coursera. There's financial aid on Coursera where you don't even have to pay anything. Do you get? And so we can't and I agree what you're saying. We can't take out like the responsibility on the students that have access. But we must also never forget the kids in my hometown who would never see a smartphone. Do you get? And I think that's the balance that must always.
I think
go
that's where
into.
you also come into as a champion of your community.
so
I'm championing something else.
okay, I want to make a point, please. So for the people that have phones, how many of us are willing to volunteer? And because the reason why I said this is because we all have this mentality of I don't want to be used. I don't want to be used. I don't want people to use me. I don't want that person to use me. So how many of us want to, willingly volunteer without them paying you? you would
I think
use
it's a
your
terrible mindset to have, to think that you're volunteering, you're being
Just 'cause
used.
of money.
It goes both ways.
so
You're learning something,
that's
you're
what I'm
acquiring
saying.
something.
That's why I'm
That's
saying.
what most people think.
That's
Yeah,
what
that's
I'm
what most
saying.
people
That
think.
Nobody wants to
that's
serve.
my
But then you're great
that's
at
what
I'm
I'm
currently
saying.
facing that
That's
from
what
our
I'm saying.
organization.
How
Like,
many of us really want to volunteer?
You guys are
Exactly.
making me realize that volunteering in Nigeria needs advocacy.
Exactly.
Yes,
To
it
be
is
Just
honest,
no,
advocacy.
no.
to be
It is
honest,
people don't really
advocacy,
understand.
to be
yeah.
honest, people
Volunteering
even think
means, yes.
people think that volunteering is
Has
like
financial
somebody
benefit.
is using you.
Yes.
So I want you to know that as you grow out of secondary school, particularly, some of these things when they say job experience and all of this stuff that they say you need 2 years, and I won't make excuses for them, but they expect that you have some level of, particularly abroad, they expect you to do internships, do something like IT, but you come out of uni and you don't have like, you've not tried to do anything or something. I understand that, oh yes, obviously they expect too much from us sometimes.
Sorry.
But I believe that when I was in uni, I started working when I was in uni. I took advantage of my breaks because, I mean, I'm the firstborn. I don't expect everybody to do the same thing. But I know that if I want more for myself, I need to start early. So I know that I have breaks. Waiting I do during my break time. Okay, I'm tired all the day. After sometimes you just like, okay, Kilombo, what's bringing money in? I'm growing up to, I'm past 18 or something. And I know that at some point, I'm a guy, quite a bunch is expected from me. I want to do something. I volunteered. Good for me. I got paid stipends at that point, 20K at that time. I got small. Do you understand? So I did those things every time, every semester break. When I filled my CV at the end of uni, people were asking me, when do you do all these things? Yeah. When did all these things happen? Because why you would like to say that, oh, people are not aware of these things. But I feel like it is what you want for yourself that you would look for. If you want to be a streamer, you will by all means find every way to apply for Kaisenat stuff. If you want to be a doctor, you will find every way to do courses online, speak to doctors. These people will talk to you about the things you can do. I feel like there's a shift. That's why somebody was saying, I think before this whole conversation started, somebody was saying like, the young people, are they prepared or something for the next story? Because is it going to get better with the younger generation or the Gen Alpha? With the way, is it going to get worse with them? I feel like now we need to be more direct about our ambitions. Everybody just thinks that, okay, if you go to uni and you do this course, you cannot make it out with this course. Like if you study medicine, you cannot be a doctor. Some people actually go ahead and become doctors. They actually have put a time to it. They pursue these things and they make it happen. I mean, regardless of the encumbrances that they might face, obviously these things are there. We can't disregard them. But like he said, he doesn't want to be resilient still. But sometimes we need this resilience to push through to show that, okay, if I can do it in this space, I'll want to make life easier for the people that are coming after me. So that's why the old championing stuff comes in. Do something. Help make it out for yourself, then make it easier for people.
In essence, what you're saying is, I believe what we've all said is that there are two factors involved. There's the governance gaps, what the government should do to help us, and then there's also what we are not doing individually to help ourselves or to make things better. So where exactly do we think that our voices are missing as young Nigerians? Is it in politics, in education, in governance, or in tech, in climate? Like where are our voices missing?
Before we move on, right, for this volunteering thing, I want to give you balance because I graduated last year. And early this year, I did a volunteering job. And by the time I checked what I spent to volunteer, maybe because of mode of transportation, but even what I'm saying is that open your eyes, because we are now in a survival society. Even people leading volunteer industries, they want to milk all they can from you under the sake of volunteering. So when you're volunteering, it's not the same as back then.
I believe that volunteering should happen on your own will. Like nobody should force you to volunteer more hours than your willingness.
Understand what I'm saying? I was willing. I'm saying that they will drain you for the sake of volunteering.
But please, not all.
For me, I volunteered remotely online when I wanted to, so there was no extra obligations for me.
Yeah, so I think what she's trying to say is at the beginning, whenever I want to volunteer, I think I'll just say be clear
careful.
and even be clear about what you are
Don't commit more than
doing?
you can.
Are you coming twice a week? Are you coming once? Just be clear about
sometimes,
what
right,
you
you
want
can
to
volunteer and okay, this is example. You're teaching these kids school clothes at 5, but then stay back, mark till 8 p.m. I'm saying if it's time, they will drain your time, they will drain your resources. What I'm saying is because of the situation of Nigeria now, volunteering is not, I don't want to use the word easy, but they don't bring it face. They don't show you what you're actually getting
I
into.
suggest that you should have your personal boundaries as a volunteer. You can
Mhm.
easily walk away. Like,
Like-
yeah, what do you have to lose?
No,
Exactly.
indeed, that's the thing. Now you're committed to being impactful.
Yeah.
Just be careful. That's
Just
it.
saying there's a
give
price to
balance
pay.
it. There's a price to pay,
Mm.
and try to work with honest people because of what we are facing. This thing has crept into so much of our society. Churches, mosques, religious spaces, government spaces, homes, private sectors, public. It has crept into everything. I've done internship in the public sector. I've done internship in the private sector. It has crept, this corruption, economic instability. It has crept into every single thing we are doing in the market space. So whatever you're doing as a person, right? You want to champion your community. No one does that better than the Igbos. They build hospitals, they build schools, they build roads, but still there are people that are suffering in those communities because you cannot, individuals, groups cannot take the job of the government, no matter how much you invest. Like you were saying, everyone has their part to play, but I strongly believe that people follow their leaders. And I'm not speaking about that people invest their money, but the policies, so now if for instance a company has a CEO who is known to steal, I'm telling you, no matter how good or how much money the company is making, they will crumble because employees will start stealing. And that's what I'm saying. If we have a government that is not playing their part, it's hard to expect citizens to play their part. But again, no one does this investment thing, as you said, in your community more than the Igbos. They've built airports, they've built so many things, but still there are people suffering from poverty there. So I think that you can do as much as you want, but the government should play their part. And we should play our part too. And the government is just not doing it correctly.
Everyone
and
should
making
play
it
their part.
impossible.
We cannot do it alone.
Thank you, Persis. So moving
Yeah.
from there, I think Oluwaseun, you were about to answer the question where most Nigerians' voices are missing, young Nigerians. Where do you think is missing the most?
You mentioned various sectors, so I'd like to speak on the political part of the conversation. So I believe that young people in Nigeria are only concerned, well, I say they are more reactive than proactive. That's the word.
That's true.
So if it doesn't happen to you, you are not going to like
You're not affected. You're not bothered.
exactly. So now, I would say that Nigerians, particularly the larger population of the young people, are tertiary participants in the political space.
Thank you. I want to hear from everybody, and let's keep it as brief as possible so everybody gets to speak. Let's say what we think is missing, and then I think whatever majority of us agree on, then we focus on that and how we can fill in those gaps. Maryam, where do you think our voices are missing the most? Politics, education, tech, climate. Where?
I would say our voices are missing in every aspect, and there is a
The
reason
most.
why.
No, pick one.
Okay,
Pick one.
I
Which
should-
one do you think our voices are missing the most?
I don't have any comment for now, but
Okay.
go around maybe
Okay.
when you come.
Solu?
I think I'll
Okay.
say policy making.
In policy making. Okay, interesting.
To making too.
Okay. Oyale.
Politics.
Okay. And
Okay,
Usman.
I'm going to say employment, and I have like justification for it because I mean, you look at the structure of Nigeria right now. I think there's a statistic from National Bureau of Statistics. Every year, I think according to the stats, every year the tertiary institution churns out about 1.7 million graduates, and 1.7 million graduates, these graduates are expected to come and fill in the labor force. So imagine now Nigeria, where I think there's also another statistic again where there is 53% unemployment rate in the youth sector. where do they aim to be fitting in this 1.7 million people that are coming out annually? So there is that gap, and there's that need for a pipeline to be created where maybe people will be inculcated with skills that they would use, like employability skills, so that it would help ease the burden. Because I think the best threshold for a country maybe is around 5%. There should be only be like 5% unemployment rate, but we are dangling with 53%. So sustainability is next to impossible with this kind of figures. So I think that's just my own personal view.
Persis, where do you think our voices are missing the most?
I think in governance, which is like the application of policy making. So I think that's where our voice.
I agree. So, Maryam, you're ready now?
Yes. So I would say politics, because it affects all other things. Because if you're saying as a youth that we want education to be better, we want climate to be better, we want tech and all of that, it all starts from the policies. So I think we need to be, as youth, we need to be inclusive. If you know that you want a change, why not, try and run for office and create that change you want to see.
I agree. So
Run for office.
I think most of us.
Do you know how much the ticket
I
is?
agree. Do you know, as you were speaking, I remember something, right? So when I interned in the public space, there was something that I studied computer science, so I wanted to build something for them as part of my requirements for my school. And I went to my supervisor and I told him. He told me no. I said, sir, why? This is a really good thing. He said, no, people are making money from this thing not being there. So no.
Oh, wow.
He told me straight up. So it just reminded me that, yes, we need this thing, but we also need to push out the old cougars that are kind of not allowing that space breathe and move forward.
The old guards
that are hindering the young
people.
So
how do we push out the old?
The old guards. Yes, let's talk about that.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Let me share a personal experience, please. Okay. I spent 10 weeks in the National Assembly through a legislative internship program. So most of us, it wasn't LMI, it was the Plaque Legislative Internship. Okay. So most of us have agreed, we already agreed, we established that politics and governance is where, even though I think everybody except Usman says that's where our voices are missing the most. And I remember, first of all, I was working as a journalist in Nigeria, in the newsroom, reporting on governance. The government is not doing this. I remember reporting specifically on certain bills that are not passed in the legislature. Then all of a sudden, as God did it, I had the opportunity to intern in National Assembly through this program. And thanks to Plaque for organizing the legislative internship program. By the way, it runs every year, so you guys should apply next year. If you see the opportunity, apply. It's a very, very competitive process. So I was selected to go to the National Assembly. I was representing my state. And when I got there, all of us were posted to different committees in the National Assembly. I was in the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs. They post us according to what we studied. So I spent 10 weeks attending plenary sessions, being in my committee, going for public hearings. I don't know if many of us are even knowledgeable about how things even work in the National Assembly. Yeah. But after 10 weeks in National Assembly, I realized, oh my God, we don't know a lot. Like, we don't know anything about. I thought I knew governance. I'm a journalist. I'm reporting on governance. I'm reporting on politics. Like, I cover so many events. I thought I knew. But we don't know. But programs like that gave me the chance to. We were trained on how to draft bills and how to draft motions. Now I understand the process of. In fact, now I appreciate people that advocated for not too young to run bill. Like, now I realize how hard. Now there's a bill that is currently being advocated by many civil society organizations. It's the special seats bill. We're advocating for women in parliament. So how do we expect people? Nigeria has 106 senators and only 4 are women. Only 4 out of 106. Like, every time I remember that statistic, I literally get mad. So how do we expect this group of men to even pass a law that is favorable to women? It won't work. So I think somehow we have to get involved. The truth is that we are not involved because we don't even know. Yeah. The Bible says people perish for lack of knowledge. I'm telling you that we are suffering. Our voices are missing from politics because we don't really know how to, besides being on social media and criticizing. But there are practical ways. I didn't even know, like, individuals can actually come together through civil society organization and pass a bill. So we can actually, a bill to reform the educational system in Nigeria from theoretical to practical. So we can actually do these things. Does anybody want to say anything else?
Yes, I I want to say something. I heard the national youth leader, Dr. Darego, of the ruling party, say something. I think it was sometimes 3 years ago. He says that the government, or let's say politics, is so important, you need to be part of it, that the government controls everything from
Literally everything.
from your birth to your death. Now I will explain. He said that from the day you are born, the government issues you a birth certificate to recognize that you are a citizen. When you go to primary school, they give you a certificate. The government also stamps it to recognize that you have left school. When you go to secondary school, they give you a certificate, SSC. The government also recognizes, an agency of the government, to recognize that you have gone to secondary school. When you go to university, they give you a certificate, a bachelor's degree certificate recognized by the NUC to say that you have gone to university. When you want to get married, they give you a marriage certificate that the government recognizes you as married. When you die, when you want to go and collect, when somebody else wants to collect your benefits, they must issue a death certificate. So from your birth to your death, the government is involved. This is too serious a conversation for you to be a tertiary opinion giver on Twitter.
Exactly. And at the federal level, the National Assembly is responsible. They literally oversee every agency, every ministry in Nigeria.
Some people don't even know they are representatives in the House of Reps.
I was going to go there. I literally want to ask all of us. Like, I'm sure if I ask everybody, we can see.
There was an open week 2 weeks ago.
Yes, there was an open week 2 weeks ago at the National
month.
Assembly, and
Exactly.
everybody was invited. You could literally. Okay, let me ask a basic question. Yes,
everybody was open to everybody.
Everybody could come to the National Assembly. I was there during the open week.
They gave my office just 2 pass for 2 press.
Okay,
like,
wait, let me ask a
officials.
question. How many of us have even been to the National Assembly? Okay,
For
most of us.
excursion,
Oh, all of us. Oh, you went?
Excursion.
You went. Okay, so we've all been to the National Assembly. At least I'm glad that there's no hand that was left on the table. At least we've all been to the National Assembly. At least we even understand that we have access to National Assembly. There are people that think that, what am I looking for there? I don't know anybody.
Exactly.
Why should I even go there? But you literally have every right to go to the National Assembly, to watch a live plenary session, to go and know your legislator, go and know your House of Reps. Let's not even ask everybody tell us their House of Reps members' name. They don't even know to begin with. We don't know our rights. We don't know the what we can do to make them, to pressure them in a good way. We literally don't know. So I think, first of all, we need to be more knowledgeable on politics and our rights and how we can get involved, and not think. I think there's a mindset. People think that our opinion doesn't matter. Yeah. Even if but if we all think like that, then there will be no change.
You know, I was going to say that I think that there are 2, maybe 3 fundamental things that I think we need to tackle. The first being that 2023 election happened just right after 2020 NSAS killing, right? And there was a lot of talk and glamour and just talk literally on Twitter and right now X about how people should vote. I'm sure you guys know that 2023 was the year we had one of the lowest turnout of voters, right? Young people also being part of this. That's one end, which is the fact that there's a lot of talk, but less action.
Exactly.
But the second thing, which I was about starting a project for this, the mindset of the average Nigerian is to focus on the executive government, right? Which is the president, the governor. And the mistake we make is that the laws that are passed are not done at that level. Do you understand? There's a lot more that actually goes on with the legislative. Do you understand? And like you said, many of us don't know the Senate president. Do you get? And I think that there's a fundamental problem that needs to be addressed in that regard, which is the fact that the bill you mentioned for the women is been on since, I know, like over 7 years, and it's still not been passed. And I think that until we get to a point where we realize that, you know what, it's all right to put everything on like the government, because even if we did it, everything we said was about the governance. We're always talking about like the presidency. But there's more to that. There's like the legislature being able to pass like the right bills. And I think that for us, it's also like to call to like implore to us young people to say, you know what, you need to be aware of like the legislative. Do you get? These guys have like a lot of power over you. Exactly. And I think that
not just on the federal level, even at the state House of Assembly, those are people that are passing the laws. So thing is illegal.
Those are the laws that affect us directly.
It's somebody that sponsored a bill and made it illegal. Like anybody can wake up and decide this is legal, this is illegal.
Yeah, and I think that the last thing, I hope you read, there's a book called Love Doesn't Win Elections. And this woman details her journey. She's a young person, details her journey of how she tried to contest the people should have to see the godfatherism. I think I overheard us saying something like that, the godfatherism there. And I think that sometimes even the cost of purchasing tickets, even though we have the not too young to run bill, you can't become a president in Nigeria under 30. No curse, but you know how much you would pay. But I think that the point is still to say, wherever you are, start.
Yeah.
Start
Exactly.
Just get involved.
I totally
Just
agree.
get involved.
Just get involved at whatever level.
Sorry, just one last one.
Sorry.
And getting involved means that you want to be in the know. I hate when people just say the government is bad. And I ask them a question: what was the last decision the government made? Do you know the last decision the government made about this? Do you know there's actually like the current curriculum update that has been going on? Do you know history is no longer part of our curriculum? And many of us don't know these things because we've fallen to the curse of our fathers, which is blame everything on the government. Don't be in the know of like what's happening. Do you get? And I'm hoping that, I think shame on us if we can't say this is the speaker, this is my current house of rep. Do you get?
Yeah.
I think we need to do better. Everybody here, shame on me, shame on Sheo.
No, no, shame
on me.
I know my lawmaker. I know my lawmaker. I know my lawmaker.
I have my senator on WhatsApp.
I said Sheo because I know you know yours.
So my question is,
I feel bothered now.
my question, right, is to Pamela. So now, for instance, to go to the National Assembly, the name of this person. How do you have any impact in the decision?
Okay, so it was very recent that my time at National Assembly ended, and I learned so much. I learned not to, because as a journalist, all we do is criticize. Oh, we write the news headlines. They didn't do this, they didn't do that.
Sorry.
But now I've learned that I can criticize constructively. And honestly, deep down in my heart, I ask myself, what is this problem that I'm complaining about? What am I, or what can I do to solve it? And if I cannot do anything, honestly, I just shut up.
Okay, yeah, but what I'm saying is that, so for instance, a lot of people are not going to have that internship it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody
plausible.
cannot have.
What I'm saying is that, what is the practical step for an average citizen to have because I can know the name. I don't currently. I'll learn, but I can know the name of my lawmaker. I can go to the National Assembly and just stand in the hallway and just say, I'm here. But like, how do I have an impact? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
Maybe Maryam could be good for this.
So, what I want to say first is to her, which is they gave you 2 pass for your office to attend the open week, and that is not your first time going to the National Assembly. What you should do next time, and anyone listening, is create opportunities for yourself, even when they are not created for you.
That's the mind of the average Nigerian. Since we've been here, everything has been revolved around. If the government does not do something, what about you? What are you doing?
The space
You
was
know
limited.
why? You know why I said that?
Because
You know why I said that?
They're not doing anything.
You know why I
let
said
alone
that?
everything.
You know why I said that? Because you want to be involved, number one. Number two is because you want to, know what is happening. You want to know how these things are being done. So that's why I think
I
you
also
should
have
create
another question
opportunities
for you. When they
Let
let
me-
young people come into the house, are they involved in decision making?
Okay, so decision, I think first, to me,
I think it's the same thing.
yes, it's the same question.
Yeah,
So,
the answer to that is, if you're going to the National Assembly to see your lawmaker, of course, when you get to the National Assembly, there is a space where you would go and then ask the people that are sitting down there by the reception, you ask them that, good day, my name is this, and I'm going to see so honorable member representing, let's give for example, Osun Central.
my constituency.
Because they will ask you, what is your constituency? You're going to see so and so person that is representing, let's say, Osun Central, and you're going to see, let's say, Bamidele Salam, for example. When you go to Bamidele Salam's office, for example, and you tell them, oh, my name is this, I am from this constituency, I want to see the honorable member, they would ask you, Pamela, Persis, sorry, why do you want to see this person? Then you state your reasons. Then they will give you an appointment date to see him. Note that when you go to see an honorable member, you're bringing in your own value. You're saying, okay, sir, I have this particular law. He would listen to you. He would listen.
Have you seen
He
your
or
honorable
she,
member before?
he or she would listen to you.
Have you seen him?
You see Davido in Cage.
Exactly. Right.
It's the same way you can see these people. There's a bias that makes people think these people are invisible. You can only see them on TV.
So
you can only
to
see them
me,
in escorts.
answering Persis and Oyale's question, I think the first step is to educate ourselves on the steps
We
necessary.
don't even know they have the access.
What I'm saying is that we've gone past education. I know these things. We know these things. You understand? That's why I'm asking.
So you're
people that
asking
have
how you can
experienced this
engage them
for the practical steps, and other for people
And
that
if
are
you
also
notice,
listening.
see, the
that
thing
don't
is,
know.
if you notice that, okay, your constituency is having this particular problem, or you want this law to be passed through your honorable member or your senator, write to them, tell them, I have someone that said he was in his final year and he didn't have a system, he was unable to pay for his school fees, and he wrote to his. And I think that was even the first time I heard, and I was like, I could actually do this thing too.
I think we should try. Imagine you try and actually pursue
he
them
said,
for an
he
issue.
said
They
he
don't.
wrote. He said he wrote to his honorable member, and the honorable member he actually responded.
Exactly. Last week I met a young lady. She owns an NGO. I don't remember her exact name. I think Maryam, I'm not sure. She owns an NGO, and her NGO advocating for that special seats bill. They want more women in the National Assembly. And she said they had a project. It was a very simple project. Their project was to approach 3 lawmakers in 3 months to convince them to change their minds. Because we don't expect a National Assembly where there's 106 senators and only 4 women to pass, the men should pass special seats bill that women should come to National Assembly. So they were going to convince the men with one-on-one interaction. She said they were able to convince 2 out of 3. They approached them, but I think a normal youth would think that was impossible. They were able to go to their offices, sit down with them, talk to them, and after explaining to them why they think that more women should be involved, 2 lawmakers agreed and they changed their mind towards the bill.
And again, sometimes when you go to see your representative, you might not meet them. Another thing is you have to be consistent and patient.
Yes.
You have to be consistent
they have
and really
plenaries
patient.
too.
Yes.
You have to be very, very patient.
I think that's what I learned from my experience in National Assembly. I used to think, what are these people doing? But then when I went there, I'm like, oh my God, they gave me a task to draft a bill, to draft a motion. Like, do you know what it takes?
Also, LMI does the same thing
Yes.
Flag does.
I think
I
Jed was
met
about
someone
saying
from
something.
LMI too.
I think I'll just go to because I work a lot in the community, so I think I'll just go down to the community level. So you can correct me if I'm wrong. So I think the communities to also, I think they can pass bylaws too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's also
Local government.
Yeah, local government, and I think they have autonomy now.
Yes.
Couple of things. So I
Yeah.
think that's another
On a very
And we also need to be holding our
Community
our local government chairman and chairlady.
ladies
We need to be holding them accountable.
Yes.
But many Nigerians will see them and just beg them for money. Come to my wedding and be the chairman
Yes.
on
Some
the
of them
occasion.
don't even
change-
know
guys.
them.
Let's change
to even
the
begin with.
perspective of
Exactly.
when
Ripple
you see
effect.
your honorable member or when you see your
They
representative, the
wouldn't be
next
there
thing you
without
start to
you.
do
It's
is
begging
please
for
sir,
money.
give
Billing.
me money. No. Let's stop that. Let's start bringing value to the table.
So,
Let's
Maryam,
start doing things that will make them know that yes, we have something to bring on the table.
so if you sat with your lawmaker today, let's say your senator for an hour, like what issue would you insist that he or she addresses?
So if I sat with my lawmaker today, I would tell him that, sir, I am from Osun State, Ede, where the governor is from. I would tell my lawmaker that I want I want the youth to be more engaged through skills acquisition. Also, there should be a lot of public hearing.
Okay. Oyale, how about you? If you sat with your lawmaker today for an hour, what would you insist they address?
Creation of manpower. I think that Nigeria, for example, is one of the highest producers of lithium, and there are no factories in Nigeria to process these mineral resources people are getting. Rather, you export it, they get to refine them there, and then they get to bring it back to you people and sell. And to be honest, we need more factories, we need more jobs, we need more, basically manpower needs to explode.
How about you, Persis? If you start with your lawmaker today, what issue would you insist they address?
I'll insist on addressing the quality of education. I think if every local government actually had a standard quality school,
That would be a good place
30%
to
of our
start.
problems would be solved in Nigeria. I think so, genuinely.
So we've all agreed that.
No, you didn't hear from him.
Okay.
The Jed was speaking earlier,
Okay,
actually.
we're working with time. So, but you guys will answer the next question. So we've all agreed that there are governance issues, and then there's issues that we need to play a part in as Nigerians. So, what responsibility do young Nigerians themselves have in creating the Nigeria that we want? You guys can answer since you didn't answer the previous one.
Okay, so
I
Okay,
actually just
Shane, go.
wanted you to repeat the question.
Okay, what responsibility do young Nigerians have in creating the Nigeria we want? Like, okay, we've said our governments need to do this. What can we do by ourselves? Sheon, go ahead. Sheon, go ahead.
okay, so I want us to move from the phase of making excuses, like I earlier emphasized. Like now, you've thrown the ball to our court now, so we have the responsibility of doing something beyond necessarily relying on the government. The government is supposed to make the system available for us to be able to like practice or do these things. So let's say for some sectors, these systems or this, I would say some things are made available for us to thrive. So you can, it's as easy as NITDA making and CAC coming together to make business registration easy.
Smidan.
Do you understand?
Smidan.
Smidan, making business registration easy. So you do not have to pay so much to register your business name. And with your business name, you can already do business. Get more money and get your business, you'll get your CAC certificates, get your MIMAT and all of that stuff. So what I'm saying is that far beyond all the excesses or the things we will blame the government for, there is so much more we can do by ourselves. Leverage the opportunities that we have. Like I said earlier, the reasons you use social media should be goal-oriented. You have a means. Sometimes we just doom scroll because if you stay on TikTok, particularly, you will just forget that. I use TikTok for my search engine. I don't usually go there a lot, but I know that if I'm looking for Guinea in Abuja, I can go to TikTok and I'll search it and I'll find it. That's what I do. But as soon as you open TikTok, something takes your attention. You just keep swiping. Then you now remember, because I like to put alarms around things I do. Guinea fowl. Then I say, I came to look for Guinea fowl in Abuja. So we need to like set our goals for the things that we want to do. Like now, you know that you want to chase a career in public speaking. You go for courses. You attend events where people get to speak, network with people, tell people about what you do. The easiest way to make it in life is by somebody helping you, speaking to somebody. I'm a Christian, and I like to go by some of the things in the Bible. I think it was in the book of Numbers when Moses was going to number the children of Israel. The Bible says, these are the names of the men that will stand with you. So for every assignment you have, people are supposed to stand with you. And if you don't tell them these things, nobody is going to stand with you. People say that there are 4 people away from your big break. If you don't tell those 4 people, nobody is going to like come to help you. So I believe that as young people, another thing we need to leverage is our company, our relationships. You don't always have to ask everybody for money. Like she said, you see these guys, ask them for money.
Please
give
say
them
that
value.
again. Say that
You
again.
don't have to ask everybody.
Thank
I
you
agree.
very much.
Last year I was a media for development fellow here at Citizens Commons, and I learned that if there was something they said that stuck with me, like you need to have a circle that can make things work with or without money. Like if, for example, you have a project you want to work on, do you have a circle that can pull it off? Like you don't have, nobody is waiting for you to pay anything. Like you guys will pull it off.
Exactly.
So your relationships are a currency.
Exactly, because I own an aviation company, and everybody on my team, like she said, just work with like-minded people. If we know the end goal of what we are supposed to achieve, everybody is just trying to make sure this works out, because you know that at the end of this thing, when this thing is achieved, money will not be a problem. This thing will not be a problem. So I also want to let us know that your first, particularly in this phase of our lives, your first instinct should not be money. It should be service.
Sure.
Particularly because all of us we came to the conclusion that we need to make more impact in politics. And if you want to do politics, you want to have a voice, you will serve first too.
So thank you, Sheun. Who else wants to tell us what young Nigerians can do without waiting for the government?
Just to add to what one major thing I would say is, as young people, don't see yourselves as competition. You should actually share opportunities because,
brilliant.
don't see yourself as competition. Share your opportunities among yourself because I just feel the sky is very big enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually share opportunities amongst yourselves. And another thing she even said was, and I usually tell people, I'm a communications person. And that's an analogy I used to give people. If you blink in the dark, nobody's definitely going to see. So actually put yourself out there. If it's bread or cake you bake, you have social media. Put yourself on TikTok. Post. You are seeing lots of
that's a bit contradictory though, because then TikTok, but it makes sense though.
like when
About utilizing it. But TikTok was designed to be addictive. So when you hold yourself to a standard that you're not going to be that scrolling person, you cannot still forget the fact that this thing was designed to pull
So that's why
people's
self-discipline
attention.
Exactly. That's why it comes into, because if you post your stuff and I want to buy bread, and I say look for people buying bread, I'll see you in
Absolutely.
the feed.
But what I'm saying is that you cannot hold the mass of youth to the same standard you hold yourself.
No,
Okay.
obviously, definitely.
That's what you have to make a room for people that
Okay,
don't
let's
have
hear
that.
from Tolulope. Like, what do you think young
For
people can
yourself.
do? Like,
Do you
in
get-
one sentence, what can young people do
If
without waiting
everyone
for the government? One
Shout
sentence.
to you.
I think that I think as young people we have to be responsible, right? I've been noticed that we are 8 people here, but we're standing in for like maybe millions of other young people out there. And I think that for every young person, if you've been given access, it's first off, it's hard to get access, but if you've been given access anywhere, understand that you stand there not just for yourself, right? If you mess that thing up, you would actually not just be doing that to yourself, but to the train of young people outside. And I say this because I worked with I'm young myself, and I see how, like at their school, we take things sometimes, how immature many people are. And I think that just that understanding that look, you're not standing here for yourself or for others, and you have to be responsible with the access you've been given.
Okay, so wrapping up, we're coming to the end of our program. Wrapping up, let's imagine now, let's move from issues to imagination. Imagine now that today is International Youth Day 2036. That's 10 years from now. And we have Gen Alpha sitting on this table having this conversation. What do we hope that they will say about our generation, and what can we brag about that we've contributed? Now, we're in 2030. What do you think Gen Alpha is saying about us, and what can we say we've done? We've moved from, yes, we want the government to do this, and we want to do this. What do you think in 2030 you'll be able to say you've done, and what will Gen Alpha say about us? Who wants to go first? Maryam?
That we're able to identify our uniqueness and use it to create impact. Also, the fact that we're able to, bring solutions to problems, regardless, no matter how small it is. And also that we're able to, be confident enough to say, yes, this is what we want, and we stood for what we want.
Does any of our studio guests want to add anything? Okay, can we give her the mic?
I think I'm loud enough now. Everybody can hear me.
Okay. No, you can.
And while she's coming up, right, I hope that they say we are emotionally intelligent parents.
I hope so too.
I hope
think
so
that has
too.
an
That
impact.
care about
How we
mental
come up,
health.
it has an impact on.
Okay, so
Next
what's your name? Introduce yourself, please, and tell us.
My name is Precious Effraim, and I just recently finished my NYSC. I can't hear myself. Okay. I just recently finished my NYSC. I'm a very Gen Z. And then there's a mentality that a lot of Gen Z have that I feel like is very bad. And it is this, you cannot make a lot of money legally. Like you have to do something illegal to make a lot of money. And I feel like that is very wrong. And it is misleading, even to the next generation. So I feel like there should be something that we should have a positive mindset that I can make money, a lot of it, legally. I don't have to do something illegal. I don't have to do fraud. I don't have to do prostitution. I don't have to do something bad to be able to make money. what are we teaching the Gen Alpha? So yeah, I just want to say that mindset too matters. People should believe that there's a lot of money to be made from working hard.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Precious. Okay, who wants to add something? Okay, can he have the mic?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Arafat Usman, and I just recently graduated like last year, so I'm still waiting for NYSC. I feel to add to what you said, a lot of people actually have that terrible mindset because what they watch online actually denotes what they think. Because they watch online, they see that people that actually earn honest living are suffering a lot in the country. Like white people that earn things through illegal means are actually the ones enjoying having a higher standard of living. So it actually affects what they think while focusing on education. Like in secondary schools now, what children watch online affects how they focus on their education. Most children see that people that make it most times don't actually finish school. So they decide that I'm in secondary school. I'm not really, if I finish this school now, where am I going to end up later? I might still be suffering and I'm going to be cleaning the shoes of someone that didn't finish school. So they decide that, oh, let me just follow the same path as this guy, and maybe this school now might not work out for me because I'm not as brilliant as the person that might make it later. So I should just stay behind him, and maybe I'll find a way to get through things like that. And sometimes it's actually it takes you down the wrong path, and then you end up doing things you're not meant to be doing to make money. That's all I think, sure.
Thank you.
I have a question for everyone.
Okay.
It's going to be very short. So my question is, if you were to meet a prominent person today, you mentioned the person's name. You mentioned the person's name and what you're going to be asking that person. So let's start with you, sir. So the person you're meeting might be in maybe entrepreneurship space or leadership or political, anyone. Just let us know who that person is and what you'll be asking that person.
Must the person be alive?
Dead or alive?
Preferably alive.
Preferably alive.
Can be Nigerian or international.
Nigeria or international.
Just a prominent person.
And the reason why we're doing this is to let other people who are watching us know the value of when you have an opportunity to meet somebody, what you have to say and what you can ask.
Okay. I think I would speak for a significant amount of people if I would just go for it and say the president. And what the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay.
So there's a lot of there's something that I've noticed that is quite common in Nigerian policy making. When someone is currently on seat or when someone is currently wielding political power, the policies they make tend not to follow them out of office. So it would be, I think he probably knows this more than me, obviously, but I just want to emphasize the point that it would be nice if when they are making policy making, they should try and ensure continuity.
Sustainability.
Continuity.
Okay.
Sustainability still works. So that not when you leave office, then the next person comes in, he now overhaul the entire process and we're left in a state of limbo. So I think I'll just go with that. Yeah.
All right, can we hear from you, please?
Okay, so if I were to meet a prominent person, it would probably be Ibukun Awashika. I don't know if everyone knows her, but she pioneered the banking space, security in the banking space. So she has made a lot of money, and she's also a godly person. So she has also expressed how she did not compromise as a woman, and it's something that this is unique to women. When you get into a space, someone wants to know if they can just outsmart you and all of that. So I would love, if I were to meet her, I will ask her to mentor me on how to stand your ground and also how to build wealth without compromise.
Thank you so much for that mentorship. Can we hear from you, please?
Okay. Particularly because I want to do business, I would, and the sector I am choosing, I'll say Steve Versano.
Okay.
Steve Versano is in London, Mayfair.
Okay.
He owns the jet business. so I'm growing in the jet business. So I would want to meet Steve very soon. He started quite as a young person, and he had those dreams. And now recently, I think he sold his company, or there's an ownership between him and FlexJet, and it has grown beyond what it used to be. He has sold to literally everybody in the world. He has sold jets, business jets particularly, and to be honest, I'd want to know how he grew in that space.
I should come back to you. All right, please let's hear from you.
Okay, so I think I would do Tony Elumelu. Yeah, because I think he's a social entrepreneur. So I think, just as Persis said, a mentorship. And I think I would want to know how he's able to balance the entrepreneurship and still impacting lives, because he's doing that quite well.
He works hard and play hard.
Yeah, actually. So he plays a lot. So I just want to know how he's able to balance the whole thing.
All right, can we hear? All right.
I think I would ask Natasha Kuti what it means for a woman to be in parliament and your voice should not be heard.
Okay, can we hear from you?
Okay, so mine is very similar to hers. I would have asked a female senator what it takes to be in parliament or in politics in Nigeria, but I had the privilege to do that. So I sat with Senator Ireti and during my orientation week at the legislative internship program, and she shared with us what. So I don't know. I think I've already lived the dream.
So can we hear from you?
So the thing is, the person I would like to ask is actually dead, but if I could go ahead. His name is Komla Dumont. He was a BBC journalist, and I think it would be, how do you tell the African story?
Okay. Mine, the person I would really like, two of them actually, is Adeleke Dangote and Tony Elumedu, because I want them to personally mentor me. And the reason why I have asked all these questions is because, we said, oh, if we meet these people, we shouldn't ask them something. So many people would be like, so if we meet them, what should we ask?
So what would you ask?
I would ask for mentorship. And the reason why I would ask for mentorship is because it would help me make the money and also help me make help me through the experience. So I'm making two things at once. And things like this, you don't get to have the opportunities all the time. And many of us get to meet those kind of people we want to meet, and you're kind of can we do an experiment? You meet, let's say, Tony Elumelu today, and you're coming here to say hello, sir. You're talking for too long.
And the first instinct is to take pictures.
But then you guys asked.
What you get to show for it is you go on IG to post that you met Tony Elumelu today, and some people actually liked. I don't like that. I needed to say this. You actually like we had a productive.
That thing comes with billing, though.
We had a productive meeting.
But what question are you going to ask?
Exactly, I was going to ask you, right? So we want mentorship, but let's assume Dangote is in our middle
what
here.
Question?
Because you can't tell them, sir, please mentor me.
So
there are too many people that have asked that. So how exactly would that conversation play out?
So I've done a mentorship program for students, for about 40 students in the University of Abuja, and we were having this conversation that if you were to meet your mentor today, how would you, or if you were to meet someone that you really admire so much, how would you talk to them? So if I was to meet Alhaji Aliko Dangote today, my first impression would be what he has done that has impressed me, that will catch his attention.
So what's the question?
That's the thing.
So you seem to not have a particular question.
No, I have a particular question. And something like that, you don't have all the time in the world to say you want to start asking questions. So you have to do something. Like I said, you have all the time to ask your questions. But getting to know or getting to get that person's attention. Or let's say I meet a Tony Elumelu today and I say, sir, I wear the red socks because you wear the red socks. He would stand and won't hear what you want to say.
Fair enough.
So you start by catching the attention first.
Yes, so
always works.
you would start by catching the person's attention, then go straight to the point and introduce yourself. And when you're introducing yourself, you have to tell them what stands out for you, because there are so many people that are doing the same thing I'm doing. So what is that thing that I'm doing that, I'm saying the thing I'm doing, but in a very, unique way that would make him say that,
You
okay,
sell yourself.
yes. So at that process of saying, okay, I do this and that, selling yourself in the very unique way and in a very unlimited time, like let's say maybe you have 10 seconds to just do all of that. And the next thing you say is,
I understand
I want
your
you to
point,
mentor
Maryam.
me.
Yes. Thank you. I believe that we've come to the end of our very interesting conversation.
A round of applause.
Clap for ourselves.
Now, I was thinking you were going to ask.
Ask what?
I was thinking you were going to ask every one of us if you were to give one youth out there an advice, what would it be?
I think we've dished out so much advice, like throughout, like make the most of what you have and get involved in governance at whatever level and stage that you can. Volunteer while you're young. I think we've done so much, and I hope that our listeners were as inspired. I was inspired by listening to you guys, and I hope you're inspired by me too. And I believe our listeners were inspired by all of us.
And also, right, before we just wrap up, final thing I have to say is, please, Nigerians, when the government actually does something, follow the law, obey the law. I think that will be the Nigeria we want. They can say all the things they want to say. They can create the policies, but if we don't obey them, so for instance, they do a new road, the next day it's littered. Guys, we can do better. Or even as simple as there's a pathway, but you still see
zero
in between
maintenance culture, even when the
common
government
one
tries.
is the road, the traffic light.
Guys, follow the law.
Thank you very much. I was going to just jump in when you were talking about what you will ask. I mean, this is off record. I think we're basically, and everybody was talking about mentorship. I think the question is whether you believe that mentorship. I think if you're an emerging student and emerging youth and entrepreneur like you and then you meet a 20-year-old with the same mentorship, what exactly do you mean by that? And if you can't tie, because did it start this journey with you? Not really. The mentorship is about someone that gone through the same journey that you've gone through, that can give you support about how you go through that journey. But do you actually can you match the same journey with him? The Nigeria you grew up and the Nigeria you grew up is not exactly the same thing. But what you can do is there might be some sort of like not exactly like you can build relationship that is built around not necessarily like this is what you can do for me, this is what you cannot do for me, or this is how I will do it. I need your help or advice on what this is what I'm working on. It's reality, but not necessarily. When you're thinking about mentorship, I think we should look at two. Mentorship works when the person that is advising you or that is mentoring you has very similar circumstances as you, and they've gone through similar journey like you. Then it can be very, very, very useful. So, for example, now if you're a fintech or you're trying to build a bank, and Tony Melu is going to mentor you, perfect. But if you are trying to do something totally different, you're just an entrepreneur trying to do something outside of the banking space, maybe Tony Melu is not your mentor. Maybe you want someone that is more that your path, their journey resembles your own path already. So you just not just about because they are popular, they're successful. They might not necessarily be the best person to advise you or to support you. They might, even if they invest in your company or they throw their relationship at you and they help you, because one of the advantages of mentorship is being able to you will give them access, leverage. Yeah, but that leverage might not necessarily, you can still fail. Because you get a $1 million investment and you have the $1 million, but you still don't know what you're doing. So I think when you're thinking about mentorship, it best work when the person that is mentoring you is like there's a good overlap between the person's journey and your journey, what they are trying to do and what you want to do. So you want to look for someone that is almost a good 60-70% match in terms of where you are, the sector you are, the kind of business you're building, the kind of impact you are seeking to achieve. It's easier that way, not just because it's a successful entrepreneur. I mean, I don't think it's a good enough reason for them to help you, except maybe the most they can give is money.
You're looking at me like
no. I want to say something. When you talk about relationship, because there are so many meaning to relationships. When you say they cannot mentor you because yes, they are not in the same field with you. When you talk about relationship, what are you trying to, can you break the relationship down for people that do not, understand what building a relationship is?
So what I mean by relationship, mentorship, mentee-mentor relationship is a relationship. It means that, sir, my name is Oluwaseun Oshinkoya. I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm trying to do this. But I look for someone or a group of people who have gone through the path of social entrepreneurship, whose work or life journey is like related to my journey. Maybe they can help me get a grant because I'm interested in finding a grant. I don't want investment because I'm doing social entrepreneurship. Maybe investment is not what I need. But then but what happens with mentorship is that you want someone who is able to provide some sort of advice that a journey of 10 years can be done in 2 years because you have usable practical advice that can help you. They've made the mistake, they've gone through a whole circle, and then they can make it easier for you. But that is only if they are doing what you want to do, not because they are successful. We miss that. That's what I just want to go. The fact that somebody is successful doesn't make them they can be a good mentor for general life success, but not for. So if someone approaches you, and most of the time, that's why most of these people will say no to you when you ask them for mentors, because there is no really that the match is not there. They're not really good. They will invest their time into someone that is doing what they've done, that they know that that advice will be useful to that person, not just because you are generally just building business or because they're successful. But relationship works because mentorship is also it's a form of relationship where someone they can give you leverage, they can become they can speak to you in the rooms where you cannot be, they can open their networks and their friendship to you, and that is currency. That is one of the biggest things you can get from a mentor, right? They can write references for you, they can vouch for you in the rooms but that is only if they believe in what you're doing. And for them to believe what they're doing, it must be more than just it's a good thing. It must be something that they know that they can do. But when you find the right that kind of relationship, but it's different if you just go, oh, I'm not looking for no mentorship. I know you're not my addict, but these are the people that are mentoring me. But I want you to support my business because I know that you have money to give it to me. If I get 100 million, this is what I can do with it. That might be useful than mentorship because I just you can pitch your idea, you can pitch your change. This is what I've done for 2 years, can do, and all of that. So relationship, I think that might be more useful generally, but more importantly, I think I don't want to start talking about another session. So thank you very much, everyone, for showing up.
Thank you
for staying this late and then for spending so much time. And I think this is probably one of the best. It was very impromptu for us to put together, but it's one of the best ways we have celebrated International Youth Day.
Yes.
It's like being able to bring just a very random number of people, and I think I just stood back there listening to the conversation. It's very rich and it reflects what I wanted to reflect, which is your personal stories, your personal experiences, just reflecting the common aspiration of all Nigerian young people, all African youth, and then that is reflected in your own individual stories and individual journeys as well. For those that are coming to Impact for the first time, so this is your community moving forward. You are welcome to participate, to join, and that's exactly what we do. We just want to help young people activate their potential, support them to create a community of whether it's support or influence, because already the reason why you can have this mic or you can be at this table today is because we identify you as someone who can contribute, who is a leader of some sort in your circle, and who can speak for your peers, who can articulate the problems, and I think that is really huge. Just keep doing what you do, find focus. We're here to support you to do what you can do, and I think I recognize the challenges of building in this country. We all know that and it's even more. The further you go, the more difficult it is. It's like our generation thought it was difficult, and I can imagine what your generation have been doing this for 18 years, and it's still the same old story of government is not helping, government. But the truth is that government will get worse, maybe will get better sometimes, but it doesn't matter. It's not a Nigerian story. Americans still think that the government is not working, even though our friends go there and they do better. And the British people, Europeans, everywhere you go, they think that government will always fall short. It's just the way it's designed. But what it means is that in the midst of this disappointment or frustrations, people can still. We have a lot of companies that are born from Nigeria that are doing very well. We have unicorns being built in this country, even in the ways of how difficult it is to run a business or to start a business. So it's still possible. So I think more than anything else, our own individual resolution to succeed is more important than anything else. More important than the bad governance, bad road, but we can make things happen. And I think the biggest part of what is happening in other part of the world where things are, they may have it easier because they have some things are working. But I think as humans, our own individual resolution to succeed is more important than failures of our government, failures of our leaders. And so what I'm trying to say is that despite and in spite of the challenges of building in this country, we can achieve greatness. We can create an ecosystem that can support our peers. And I'm sure everybody here is already doing that. So my word to you is just keep doing that. It's International Youth Day. It's a day to remind of how important it is. And I think in 10 years you can look back and say, oh, I remember sitting down in that panel articulating these ideas and talking about it. And look at me now. And we can look back and say that you've all done well. So thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the evening. And
thank you Impact Hub also for having us.
Thank you for having us. Good night.
Thank you for having us.
Good night.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that.
International Youth Day, then common different concepts, common aspiration.
Okay.
All right.